Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Brandon Hewson, and you're attending a eTakeoff webinar with Alliance Solutions Group. And Tim mentioned it already, but before we start, everybody's muted. Please maximize your screen for the best viewing possible. And also, if you have questions, please put them in the chat box and we will get to them at the end of the presentation. So today is going to be specifically eTakeoff, but it folds into our message that we present of best-in-class approach to having a nice work stream. So we're going to spend the majority of our time in eTakeoff, but also I am going to show what the bridge looks like that integrates into Sage estimating. Now, keep in mind, I'm not going to be going over anything in estimating. I'm just going to show the workflow. Once we get done with a takeoff, we can use the bridge to put it into estimating. So, as I just mentioned, we have our eTakeoff workflow, which we get our PDF plans. We will upload them into our eTakeoff here. Once we get our takeoff done, we move that through our eTakeoff bridge, and then we can integrate that into Sage estimating. So I'm going to just go ahead, kick off. I don't PowerPoint you guys to death, but we are going to take a look at our eTakeoff software. So initially, when we open it up, you can see I have a set of plans already in. So whatever we close eTakeoff with, when we reopen it, our plans we are working on will be there. For the first time you use it, it'll just be a blank gray screen. And what we will do is, and you notice I'm in the Home tab, and actually before I start, just to give you guys a quick overview, we're going to go through our tabs real quick, and then we're going to get in, do some takeoff. I'm going to show you some of, obviously, the standard features, but also some features within eTakeoff that I feel set them apart from their competitors. So first thing we're going to do, we will click on our new tab. Now you notice it takes me right to an eTakeoff projects folder. Initially, when we install our eTakeoff software, it creates that eTakeoff projects folder, and we can decide where we want to put that folder. For me, I have it just on my laptop, so it's on my C drive, but we also, besides having standalone workstations, we can put eTakeoff on your server. So we can put that projects folder on the server if we want to just have one centralized location if you have multiple people doing takeoff. I'm going to click OK. It's going to open up whatever project I choose. It's going to allow me to enter a handful of details about the project. I click OK, and it will fully bring in how many ever number of pages of plans I have. Now, in our Home tab, we have a couple things that we need to deal with right off the bat. First, we always have to set our scale. Now, we can do it a couple different ways. We have a pull-down menu, and the pull-down menu has the majority of the standard scales that you're going to see on plans. But for whatever reason, if that's not the case, I can zoom in using my wheel, and I can grab any place there's a measurement, hit collaborate, measure it, and it will manually give my scale. I know sometimes it's funny to hear, having grown up on computers, I just use the automatic if it fits what the scale is, but I know there's still a lot of guys that have been doing estimating forever, and they just feel more comfortable doing it manually. Also, you notice we have all our points of measurement that we can use manually here. And if I hover my icon or my mouse over any icon, you'll notice it gives a quick pull down. Within that pull down, we get a quick summary of what that icon does. And then you'll notice, and this is especially within the drawing portion of eTakeoff, you notice I get shortcut keys. Ideally, once you become efficient with eTakeoff, you're going to be using your mouse and keyboard to do everything. Also, I want to point out a couple things here. We have our quick access toolbar. Now, any functionality within eTakeoff, I can put on this quick access toolbar. You'll notice I have a handful of things on here already. But the reason we can do that is we can minimize our ribbon bar. And you notice it gives me more real estate within my Takeoff window. For the purpose of the demo, I'm going to leave that on. In our View tab, first thing we notice is our control panels. Now, I have two of them here, and you notice I can undock it, and most people use two screens today. You can go ahead and put that on your second monitor, and you notice, again, it makes the real estate for my plans larger. Now, if I want to, I can just do the pull down, ask it to dock it, boom, it goes right back to it. Now, the one thing, we have the ability to have up to 4 control panels, depending how much you want open or what you want to see. Because when I come over here and hit the pull down arrow, I have a lot of different just quick views or features that I use during Takeoff that I may want to see. And you notice I have a handful of check marked over here, like my layer list, traces, my drawing list. And then if I look at my other control panel, it gives me the same features, and you notice I have some other things marked over here as well. Now, the second icon is our drawing window. Now, it's a little misleading in the title because I can't draw and do Takeoff per se in this window, but what I can do is I can access any plans that were uploaded when I initially uploaded my plans. And again, this is great to have on your second window. And you'll notice here, I put a finishing index. So if I want to see whatever these labels are to know exactly what it's telling me is there, I can do that. Now, they call it a drawing window because if I need to make a note, I need to highlight something, I can do that. But again, I can't do Takeoff from this window. The next two things I'm going to show you are quick overviews. This is my measurement list. So everything I've taken off within these plans is located here. And you'll notice one thing, it groups everything together. All my structural slabs, then if I have a different interior, see I have an exterior, and then we get into various flooring that we have, but it lumps everything together. And then you can see all my different pattern searches down here. And right now I have total on. I can take that off and then it just gives me measurements, but I like having the total on just to see. Now, also, we have a quantity worksheet. Personally, both of them are great. It really comes down to preference. Personally, I like the quantity worksheet. I like using folder hierarchies. I feel like I can find what I'm looking for a little bit easier. And the further you want to drill down, all you have to do is just click on that folder, and it may, if you don't have anything, may bring it up saying, hey, what do you want to have in here? But if I go into my roofing if I minimize something, I can keep it even a little cleaner if I want. So it's really personal preference. Also, the big thing, you notice I have my drawing legend on, but the big thing within the view tab, this is where we would start our bridge. Now, when we get into our drawing tab, very important thing to point out, a lot of Takeoff software still uploads a PDF and converts it to a TIFF file. eTakeoff does not do that. We do everything in native PDF. And the big thing is, and especially for people that have used different Takeoff softwares, if I zoom in, you notice how everything's crystal clear. That's because we uploaded a PDF file. Now, if this were a TIFF file, this entire thing would be blurry. So it's a big advantage to have clarity because, not everybody can afford a big screen 40-inch monitor to put your Takeoff on. And the funny thing is, even if you had a 40-inch monitor with a TIFF file, it would still be blurry and grainy. It just would be bigger. Next, I like to point out that we can do multiple scales per drawing. And what I mean by that is per page. So if we have something divided up into 4 quadrants and there's a different scale in each quadrant, we can put 4 scales on that page, no problem. Also, we have the ability to compare new drawings. So what that means is if I've taken off this page already and a change order comes in and they just email you a PDF with that change on it, you can actually upload the new page over the existing page. It'll line it up, and anything you've already taken off will be in bold red. Any new changes will be in cyan blue. Nice thing is, then all you have to do is edit your current Takeoff. You don't have to retake off that page. Under the drawing tab also, we will find our search pattern. And I'm going to show you guys that feature later. Annotations tab, pretty simple. Anything we want to type, highlight, make a sticky note on top of a page, we can do that. But the one thing I like to point out here is if you want to actually have the footage listed on your plans of some type of linear measurement, that button right here is dimension, and that'll do it for you. Next, we have our settings tab, and pretty self-explanatory. This is where we have user preferences. We have the ability to edit our traces, scales, layers, it's kind of a all-encompassing place to maximize eTakeoff to the way we take off plans. Now, we're going to dive in here a little bit. So one thing I want to point out before I take something off, right here under my traces, for those that don't know, traces are essentially mini assemblies that allow me to take something off and show more information about what we're taking off than just linear feet, perimeter, square footage. Nice thing is eTakeoff comes with this templates folder. If you notice, it gives you quite a few subfolders to go in and look at. So what we're going to do here though is I'm just going to show you some basic Takeoff. We're going to take an area off. Now I want you to notice one thing. We do everything clockwise when we're taking off any measurement. And the reason we have to go clockwise is if we go counterclockwise, yeah, it'll give me the area here, but it'll be a negative number. And once I'm done, I'm going to hit the S key for stop. Now, if we're just putting epoxy over the top of this pool, that's great. I have my square footage, but what I can do now is I can hit my disconnect, and this is where going counterclockwise might be beneficial. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to pick a starting spot on the pool, and then it's very easy for us to do rounded corners. I click at the beginning, middle, end. I hit the C button for curve, and now you'll notice as we're going, the pool starts to cut itself out, because what we're trying to do here is get an accurate account of the epoxy we need to put on top of the concrete or whatever, brick, mortar, whatever they use. I'm going to hit stop, and now we've nicely taken that off. Now, we can do the same thing as far as, linear. Just going to come down here. If I want to take off a wall using linear, I can do that, hit the stop key. Or if I want to go even quicker, I can use my 2-point, and then I just go diagonal. And if I want to keep going with that, I can just keep going by hitting my diagonal points. Now, a couple of the things I like to have open is, you'll notice here, we've done a lot of takeoff on this page. And you can see I have my drawing list here. Now, one of the things, if I really want to drill down further into this, I have my layer list. Now, this tells me everything I've taken off here. And the reason we have a layer list is it's really hard to do takeoff once you start getting multiple things on the page. I can undo everything. I have a clean slate to work with, or maybe I want to leave something on. You notice I have my carpet here. Well, I have 2 different size rooms and a hallway for these hotel drawings. Perfect. I've taken everything off. I've color coded it based on my trace. Maybe I want to take a look at the tile in the bathrooms. You can see that it highlights that as well. Now, one of the things that is great about eTakeoff, especially when you get into office buildings, multifamily living, apartments, things like that, where you have multiple stories, and then normally first floor you have lobbies, or you have something in there that makes it unique, whether it's hotels or some type of building. But if we get into multifamily, once you take off that first floor, the second, third, fourth, fifth floors normally are exactly the same. And I can come in here, multi-select, select all of this that I've taken off, slide it over into my favorites. Now, the nice thing about favorites, you notice there's project and global. Anything I put under project favorites, it could be a trace, it could be something as simple as this, where I took off, I want these 10 measurements over here. Every time I open this project, that information will be there. Now, if I'm doing a ton of estimates every year, which more than likely you are, you could probably think of 12 to 15 things that you take off that are on every single set of plans. And what I would do with that then is I would just move it up to global favorites. And if I have something in global favorites, it doesn't matter if it's a new project, I'm opening a project I've already done, those measurements will be there for me. So it gives you a little bit quicker access. But the reason why favorites is so important, you notice I go to the third floor. It's the exact same layout. Well, I can literally just slide these over, line them up, drop them, 5 seconds later, boom, everything I took off on the second floor is now on that third floor. So it can be a really big time saver. All right, so we're going to go show you what it looks like to search something. Now you'll notice one thing I did here in my drawing list. I expanded so I could see all the sets sheets in my plans. Now you'll notice if it's bold, that means I've done takeoff on that page. And what I can do is I can display just sheets of my plans that have takeoff on them. I'm going to come down here to my electrical and lighting. And you can see I've taken off some very specific things and I've given different icons. But what we're going to do is we're going to look for smoke detectors right now. I click my search feature and I just put a little box around it. Within that box, I can adjust it. I can make it bigger, smaller. I have entire drawing select, but now I'm going to go into my traces. I'm going to hit select. I'm going to open up my templates down here in fire security. I want to find smoke detectors. I'm going to search. Now, one thing I want to point out, it's searching. As it's searching, I can continue to come in here and I can do takeoff like I did an area there I don't need. Now, other takeoff tools, when you go to search, a couple things happen. And I've heard this a lot over the years. Either it doesn't work as advertised, it's very, very clunky, it picks up more than it should, which keep in mind, your search tools are going to pick up a handful of extra things just as a precaution. But the other thing too, as I continue to do takeoff while it's searching other takeoff tools, that doesn't happen. You search and you have to just, might as well go take a coffee break. You have to wait till that search is done. Now, when we're done, we get the binoculars. I'm going to double click. And again, it did find some extras, but I can deselect. I'm going to hold shift and I'm going to deselect that. I mean, that's not hard to clean up. I'm going to purge, and then I can come in here, and if I need to, I can make these bigger just to make sure. Oh, I picked up a heat sensor. I don't want that right now. But I can do a couple things. I can just save, or I can hit save and continue. And if I do that, then it allows me to come in here and say, oh, let's make that a heat. Hit save. Boom. I have my heat detector, and then it's going to show my smoke alarms as well. So, and I can come in here and it'll give me my counts on that, 18, 1. So we allow you to be very efficient when it comes to searching. Now, that searching feature can be used for many things. Customers in the past, I know, use it for doors, use it for windows. I got electrical guys, specifically here, I'm doing fire, but they'll do plug-in outlets, lighting outlets. There's a lot of different options for that. Now, once we've done takeoff, we need to do something with it. And this is one of the nice features, and it's called the bridge. And the bridge will allow me to take everything I've taken off and integrate it right over into Sage Estimating. So just so that you guys know, I have estimating open. I've created an estimate. I'm going to close it out, and I'll explain to you why we have to close it out. We are going to create a new bridge. First thing we do, we go and find our estimate. Now, to be efficient and organized, I always name my bridge the same thing as my estimate. So there's never any confusion. Then I go through and check and notice, oh, I need to have my project on there. I'm going to click OK. And right now, we're creating a link between estimating and eTakeoff. Now, one of the things I need to point out here within the bridge is under resources. This right here is my actual database from Sage Estimating. And you notice I can look at either an item view or an assembly view. We're going to look specifically at assemblies. Now, right here, the first time we get into our bridge, we have to map what we want sent over to Sage Estimating. And essentially what we're doing is we are teaching the bridge and eTakeoff, which is very intuitive, how we like to do our takeoff. Now, I have a foundation here, and I am going to just select this. All I do is drag and drop. Now, bear with me, guys, because I can only use one monitor, but we are going to take a look here. And this right here under primary takeoff, that is the actual measurements and information I am getting from eTakeoff. Right here under exterior slab, this is the assembly from my database in Sage. And you notice down here, it shows me all the items within that assembly. So what I can do here is I'm going to map what it asks me for. It asks me for area. It asks me for depth of concrete, concrete strength, wire mesh. And the nice thing is, if it's asking me for information that I don't have in eTakeoff, I can just answer it. If I select this, it's asking me what material code. Well, it gives me my options. One's regular. We'll stick with that. You know what? Normally, base, wire mesh, yeah, but we'll just say no for now. Now, what I do here is I'm going to add the pass. So now all that information I added is locked in here. And mind you, locked in, but I can still change it if I want. And then it fills out all the items. But I'm going to change this from semi-automatic to fully. Because once we map something in eTakeoff, it's mapped forever. But I'm going to hit the green check mark, and boom, there we go. We just sent that over to Sage Estimating. Now, if I want to review and take a look at what I've sent over, I can hit the review button. If I want to drill down a little bit, I can do that. Double click. It'll pull up what I've taken off. Everything looks good. But what I want to do here now is I click automatic, and you notice, now mind you, I get for a hotel, this is all going to be one slab. I get it. But for the purpose of this, we did it in chunks. But you notice I mapped that first one. All the rest are mapped. Why this is important is by the time you get on your fourth, fifth, sixth set of plans you're taking off and you want to send it over to Sage Estimating, you're going to be able to just do your takeoff, click automatic mode, and it's going to give you a list of everything you have in here. And then literally with the click of a button, I can send everything I've taken off over into Sage Estimating. Nobody else can do that. Also, how the model for how eTakeoff works, and really quick, I'm just going to go to estimating, show you what it looks like. There's everything we sent over. If I want to look at it in my assembly view, I can. So one of the things as far as how eTakeoff set up, you can do eTakeoff just standalone on your computer. We do have access for you to have it on your server. And, you know, a lot of people go, well, can I remote in? Yeah. If you have a Citrix server or something like that with VPN, no problem. Also, the other big question is, will this work on a mobile device? Yes. As of right now, or a few years ago, if you had a Surface Pro 3 or newer, you would be able to do eTakeoff on that type of tablet. For Apple people, sorry, won't work on the iPad. Now, that is eTakeoff. And we are going to get back. So right now through June 27th, we have a couple different options. We do have some bundles with estimating and eTakeoff, but also we have a promotion. If you buy two, 10%, buy three, 15%, 4 plus, 20% off. Thank you guys very much for attending the webinar today. Here's all my information. If you want to schedule a private demonstration for your entire estimating team, or if you just have any questions, feel free to email or call. Or honestly, if you want to do a quick 15, 20-minute webinar to deep dive on one thing specific, please reach out and contact me. I'll leave this up for a couple minutes. I hope everyone has a great day.